Is there an issue?
It's just loading. I'm just, it's just about 2 seconds away.
I could see a message here saying meeting is now streaming online.
Yes,
Okay.
so we are live on YouTube now, and with that, I think we begin the fifth edition of um, the voice dialogues that have been ongoing all the while. This time, the topic of the voice dialogues is trees, rural livelihood, and sustainability. And we have with us our guest, Joseph Rexon, who has been working in the space for over 2 decades and has spent a lot of time saving the green cover in various regions across the southern part of India. In conversation today are Shrikantji and Joseph Rexon. Shrikantji heads operations at Voice, and I hand over the baton to him to introduce Joseph G and take forward the conversation.
Thank you, Pratik. Hello to all, and welcome to the next talk in the Voice webinar series: Trees, Rural Livelihood, and Sustainability. Voice stands for Voice for Indian Causes and Engagement, and it is a collection of like-minded and committed individuals from India, US, and other parts of the world, whose mission is primarily twofold. One is to present the Indian narrative on the current political issues that concern the country, and B is to showcase the salient aspects of Indian culture and civilization to the world. The topic for today is very apt, given that given the importance of sustainable development in today's world, and given the climate crisis that we are facing. The guest we have for today is Joseph Rexon. Joseph has been instrumental. His passion for tree plantation is, to put it in very to say it is awesome. It would be putting it very mildly. He has been instrumental in planting over 2 million trees through his own individual efforts, and his organization, Tree Planting Institute, has planted over 20 million trees under his leadership across the country. Uh, Welcome, Joseph. We are delighted to have you with us, and we would love to uh, know more about your efforts towards not just sustainable development, but also towards the cause of helping the farmers in terms of improving their livelihood through tree plantation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Srikanth. First of all, a big thanks to Voice for taking the voice of the farmers in India who are actually waiting for a chance to grow on their own land, not just leaving the land and going into city and struggling. They wanted to stay in their own land, have their own livelihood, and grow. Just organization and my work is for that. So it's a big thanks to Voice to reach the voice of the farmers who want to grow through your voice initiative.
Joseph, it'll be nice, if you can tell our audience about what motivated you to, uh, begin your journey in this field as an environmentalist, particularly focusing on tree plantations. And, we'd love to know what started your journey.
Yes. Two reasons that triggered my interest towards tree planting. From school days, I was interested in greenery, forest landscape. I was very much interested in painting greenery, participated and won several painting competitions by painting greenery. When I was in 11th standard, I received city and state level first prize wildlife painting competition award organized by the Tamil Nadu Forest Department. In 2003, I learned about this first organization doing the tree planting program. And I saw this was an opportunity for me to start doing greenery work by planting trees, not just painting alone. The first day on my village visit, I met a farmer who was an extremely poor state. When I inquired about his land availability, he said he had 18 acres of land. I was taken aback, thinking why a farmer should owning 18 acres be so poor. Then I learned he was not able to do farming because of no water, no labor. He was not having the knowledge on doing farming with available limited resources. That day, I decided I should take this program, developing agroforest, to every farmer to let them learn the new livelihood from agroforest that could be practiced with available limited resources to get sustainable multiple incomes. And from 2004 till today, I have encouraged over 6,500 farmers to grow trees. And in the year 2011, the Tamil Nadu Forest Department awarded my organization just for my best tree planting work on private lands. First award was planting trees, drawing trees in on paper. The second award that I got from the Forest Department was growing trees on the land. Well, I'm really happy God gave me this opportunity to work for conserving the environment by empowering the smallhold farmers.
Uh, would you mind telling us a bit more about your organization, TIST test? How big is this organization, and what is the scale in terms of the personnel and its presence across the country?
This program has three separate but related aims: development, commercial opportunity, and replication. The development goal of this program is to empower and equip smallholder farmers to restore their natural environment, increase soil fertility, create farm-based jobs, strengthen the local community, and move from famine to surplus. Former small groups active in Tamil Nadu developed these goals. They developed actually these goals during the pilot phase of the project. The farmers proved for the key to successful implementation of agroforest program, training, agricultural activities, afforestation activities, and administration are all accomplished through the farmers' small group rather than through political or administrative channels. Local and international expertise is offered to the farmers' small group. In seminars and monthly node meetings is the place where about 6 to 10 kilometers farmers they come and meet in a month. There the training takes place, best practices on nursery development, tree planting and tree care, conservation farming techniques, healthcare, and other areas of economic development, capacity building. Everything is disseminated to the farmers. And we also issue newsletters which carry very good best practices for the farmers to learn. Our program in Tamil Nadu is active in districts like Kanchipuram, Tiruvallur, Tiruvannamalai, Viluppuram, Kadalur, Ariyulur, and Coimbatore. Over 6,500 farmers' family are benefited through this program from 900 villages and have planted and growing over 2 million trees of different tree species like teak, red sandalwood, mango, Melia dubia, which is called Malay Vengo in local language, Vengai, rosewood, jackfruit. I'm planning to step into Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and a couple of more neighboring states where farmers are very eagerly waiting to have change in practice on the land to have sustainable multiple incomes. This is also active in other countries like Tanzania, Kenya, and Uganda.
That's interesting to know because uh, good that you mentioned that because it's good to know that test operations are also international. Uh, but let me take you on your point when you spoke about the different species of the trees that you're focusing on in terms of planting. How do you select these species, and do you have any preference for exotic versus indigenous species?
So we grow only indigenous tree species that are favorable for other flora and smaller fauna species to thrive to in the same grove. When we say agroforest is the prudent way of planting trees and growing crops together. So in that place, we plant an invasive tree species or some other species which is very harmful, doesn't help the farmer to grow multiple tree species on the same land. Tree species like teak, red sandalwood, mango, I told you, are
Hmm.
all encouraged to the farmers to plant. And it is farmers' choice to select. Here again, when we say we have 5 or 6 or 7 tree species, we don't force the farmer to plant these species. We let the farmers that these species are good for them because we have learned these species are very good for the other smaller short-term crops to grow together. So it's the farmer's interest ultimately to grow trees and which species they want to plant.
So, tell me a bit about the challenges, because when you talk about tree plantation, a lot of people, I'm sure, don't understand the challenges involved. Right? And I'm sure the perception is, and a tree plantation is not a very complex thing to do. But I'm sure when you do this on a large scale, there are challenges. There could be challenges with respect to mechanization of labor. There could be challenges with respect to the quality of the planting material. So, what have been the challenges that you have faced with tree plantation?
Well, to start with, early in 2004, it was challenging for us to take this program among the farmers itself. The
Mhm.
farmers were really scared to plant trees on farmland. They
I
they
see.
they thought we either do crop or sell the land to the real estate people. We took very good example from Kanchipuram, where many people sold their land to the real estate people. But down the line, years roll on, they neither had money to eat or they had land to work. So those examples we told them, and we also told them the benefits of trees and agroforest. We told the farmers about global warming, climate change. In
Yeah.
fact, it's only very recently people are talking about global warming, climate change, but our farmers learned these things about 2 decades back. But now the biggest problem, very big challenge we have is the labor. Labor is one big challenge. That too,
Hmm.
villages that are close to cities have greater labor problems to do any farm-based work.
Right.
Many companies send buses to every nook and corner, villages, picking people to work as laborers in their factories. Nowadays, at village areas, it is a great challenge to get people to do farm-based works like preparing land, fields excavation, watering, practicing intercrops, and tree planting, any other activities. And the sad state is that poor landless villagers who migrate to cities don't find
Mhm.
good money or continued work. During the lockdown, we all witnessed many poor
Yeah.
people stranded on the road, finding
Mhm.
it difficult to return to villages. Who are they? They are all poor people who couldn't get jobs near their home at villages. Agroforest model would increase farm-based jobs so that the landless villagers would find farm-based jobs close to their home in villages. They would not succumb to migration to cities in search of jobs and incomes. They did not waste money on rent or transport or any other activity in city. They could happily work close to their home and improve their family economy through this program.
So interesting that we are having this conversation. This was not planned to be like this. We are having this conversation, when the farmer protests are at their peak, and you mentioned this challenge about there was this fear or apprehension amongst the farmers that the land would be taken away by the real estate holders, and work to overcome these fears of the farmers. Uh, so, were there any specific measures that you used to address these fears of the farmers, or were there were these more informal conversations with a group of farmers? How did you specifically address the fears?
Let me tell you, it was absolutely informal. In fact, when the farmers saw me in their village, talking to them about the tree planting and the carbon model, everything, they were actually thinking that I was also some sort of politician coming in jeans pant.
Hmm.
So I had to, be with them, be one in them, stay with them, and tell them, see, what is the reason to plant trees? So I had to go back to their ancestors, tell them what was the reason for them in the bad state now. Why there is no rain? Why there is no water? Why the wells are dried out? Everything I had to tell them. And slowly they moved. In fact, with very few bunch of people in a village called Vedal, which is very close to Kanchipuram, a village called Vedal near to Kanchipuram. I will say 5 or 10 people. With those people, we started this program. So they planted few trees, just around their homes. And slowly, this program started to improve through the word of mouth. We never gave any advertisement through paper or through media or anything. It just spread through word of mouth from one farmer to another farmer. And in the year 2008, the forest department, they learned about our program and they were excited. So they said, wherever they go, they called us to talk to the people about the tree planting. So they wanted us to help them identify good farmers to plant trees. So after 2008, through the help of forest department, we started to, go to several villages. That's how we secured the award from the forest department also in 2011. So even now, only one reason farmers are staying in the program for a long time is that we are staying with them. We don't go there once in a blue moon or once in a while. We are staying with them. I am the only person going from city. All my people who are working for the farmers are picked from the farmers family, who have the knowledge of farming, who have the knowledge of farmers conversation, what the farmers need, everything. So the farmers are really comfortable to be in our program.
No, you're absolutely right. I think kudos to you. I think winning the farmers' trust and confidence, as we, as in the government is finding out today, is so important. I think that's an Herculean task. It's farmers, they are very right in having their apprehensions, and it takes a lot of time and effort to win that trust and confidence. So kudos to you for that. So also, when it comes to tree plantation, how big a role does the mechanization play? If and so, the second part of the question is, what is the initial capital investment required for this?
See, definitely a huge investment is required for carbon forest program, wherein the investor cannot expect much return, but the investor should be happy to see sustainable development in climate, community, and biodiversity. If the investor wishes to see quick money from carbon program, this carbon market is not good for them because the money comes from trees carbon. Whatever carbon the trees sequester, that is actually money. That is called carbon. So when you plant a tree is the size of a pencil. You let it leave it, allow the tree to grow. The more a tree grows, the more amount of carbon dioxide is sequestered. So once in 5 years or once in 10 years, we calculate what is the amount of carbon there in the trees. Then an external audit is done. After the external auditor gives a certificate that yes, whatever the trees this company is projecting, they are there, and so much amount of carbon is there. So only after such certificate, the carbon credits could be sold. So that happens once in 5 years or 10 years. So whatever huge money the company is bringing, they will have to buy to get back that money.
So you mentioned about carbon sequestration. That's a technical term, and it'll be great for the sake of our audience, if you could talk a little bit more about what is actually meant by carbon sequestration and how does a carbon credit works.
Yeah. Well, as I said, when we plant a tree is the size of a pen or pencil, and slowly it grows. So whatever water and whatever the manure nutrition you give a tree needs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. So we all know what photosynthesis, and through the photosynthesis process, trees take carbon dioxide. It lets out oxygen, and carbon is stored inside. For a simple calculation, I will tell you, every tree is 50% wood and 50% water. And in that 50% wood, 50% is carbon, which means you uproot a tree and weigh it, 25% of the weight of the tree is carbon, right? So what we do is we plant tree today. in the second year, in the third year, in the fourth year, each year we try to calculate what is the biomass of a tree. We have some down the line in the interview. I'll tell you how we calculate those things. We have some mechanism to calculate those biomass, and after calculating the biomass, we will arrive at what is the amount of carbon stored in the trees. See, about 1 ton of carbon, we call it a credit. 1 ton of a carbon, we call it a credit, and that credit is actually sold to the corporates. Imagine, like for example, we have this meeting in a conference hall where we would be burning, electricity. So we can calculate what is the amount of electricity, carbon burnt out of that. Equal to that, we can try to buy the carbon credits which is coming out of from the tree, which means we are trying to balance our emission. So there are several companies who wanted to plant trees, wait for the trees to grow, then have the carbon credit out of that. So farmers are really potential people for this business.
So yeah, you spoke about carbon sequestration and carbon offsetting through trees. There is this other theory which says, I mean, as in most cases, you have two sides, right? There is this other sides which says that carbon, the trees don't help a lot in carbon offsetting. So how do you counter that? And when you hear these kind of things, I'm sure you'd have heard many people cast aspersions on this aspect as how effective trees can be in carbon offsetting. So how do you counter when people say something like that?
Well, yes. See, any program you do, there is a positive comment and negative comment. But at the positive side, what we have been doing is there is a market for this. There is a voluntary market for this. In fact, people who have such doubts can always go Google. They can Google for VCS, Voluntary Carbon Standard, which is actually providing opportunities for such people like us who could bundle the farmers, calculate the carbon, and sell it through them. So we actually have those things in place, and so we are not worried when people say all those things. These stories are very, very, very old stories. Nowadays, it is very required when people know, yes, we need to do. In fact, every country
Right.
is planning to do that.
So what are the voluntary carbon standards in in India?
Well, we actually started this program in 2003 to do through the CDM, Clean Development Mechanism. But later the CDM market fell because of two reasons. One is the mismatch of currency, and second thing is the CDM gave a new term to the tree carbon, gave tree carbon, which is called T carbon. That is, you cannot offset 100% for your emission. Imagine you are emitting 100 kgs of carbon and you're buying 100 kgs of credits and you're trying to offset, but that is valid only for 5 years. So after 5 years, again, you'll have to buy. So for that reason, the CDM market fell. But this voluntary market is going on good, and TUS is actually into this market only, and there are several people across the globe interested to buy, and going good.
We spoke about. Let me just take us to a few questions prior that we discussed. We spoke about the high capital investment that is associated with tree plantation. Where is the role of the government? Where does it fit in? Are there state incentives or are there central incentives that are being offered for tree plantation?
No, see, for our program, we don't have any support from the central or state financially. We do not have any support from them. But we have encouraged some corporate companies to join with us in replicating our agroforest model to different villages. They are supporting us through the CSR fund, and also some corporate companies are encouraging their associates through employee engagement program to participate with the farmers in planting trees and working on farmlands. I would like to say that many corporate companies are doing good job through their CSR funds very close to their company inside city. But I
Mm-hmm.
request them to think outside the box. City cannot survive of its own. Need for city survival, food, water, everything comes from villages, surrounding villages.
Mm-hmm.
Water body that provides water to city gets filled through streams coming from village area. So
Mm-hmm.
if corporates plan to step into villages with their CSR fund, that would be a great act. I'm interested to connect urban with rural for better future. For that, I see corporate CSR goals would be very, very good. So we need not just keep waiting for the government, state government, or central government to do. We can join hands with the corporates and do a wonderful job. In fact, we have already done it.
Yeah, interesting that you mentioned about corporate CSR goals. How serious do you think are the corporates in India with respect to CSR goals? Because some part of me thinks that the corporates have the CSR goals, more for you know publicity that reflects into their stock market valuation. But how, from in your experience, how serious do you think the corporates are with the CSR goals?
Yeah, see, that's what I told you. There are some corporates who really wanted to do a very, very good job, and I can also name it like Wipro, Apollo Tyres, Cognizant, Hyundai Motors, Ramco Siemens. They are all very, very good people who wanted to really do a very good job through the CSR initiative. They are coming into the villages, meeting the farmers, learning their needs, and they really learned that agroforest is one good model with which multiple multiple of their goals through CSR can be taken care because you know doing this agroforest addresses the need of climate, community, and biodiversity. In fact, in the CSR
Sure.
roles, CSR initiatives, if you study, all the activities of most of the CSR companies falls into these three categories.
Hmm. And you know, are there any biological risks associated with tree plantation or biological and economic risks associated with it?
See, the social forest project developer should be very careful while selecting tree species. Any invasive tree species planted in mass setup would affect the environment that would affect directly on the survival of other flora and fauna species. It would destroy soil nutrients, pollute groundwater, adversely affects and alters the natural ecosystem. The farmer community who plant such invasive tree species will not be able to get good yield from their land. There would be great downfall in their family economy. More importantly, the farmer would not be able to pass on their land to the next generation in a good state. Farmers' land is a legacy to the next generation. That land should be maintained clean, green, and fertile, growing good crops and good trees.
Yeah. So when you talk about afforestation and your efforts are afforestation efforts, and we know that over the last decades there's been tremendous amount of deforestation that's happened, not just in India but around the world. But specifically from my own experience, I mean, I have lived in different parts of India, and some of which have been very ecologically fragile, and it breaks my heart to see all these concrete blocks of development uh, replacing the tree lines these days. So some people, whom I have met, said that deforestation is bound to happen with the development and stuff, but as long as you you know supplement that or replace that with afforestation, uh, uh, you can control the effects of deforestation. Is that true? Do you think that afforestation can uh, limit the side effects of deforestation, or do you feel that uh, you know afforestation alone is not enough? Deforestation also needs to be stopped stopped. And then you need to have afforestation to really address the climate change risks.
Uh, so if you ask me, any increase in tree cover over forest cover, around the world would mitigate global warming. Point to note is that new forests on farmland will not have any biodiversity as the original forest. So it is really, really very good and needy to protect the available forests. So deforestation should definitely be controlled to some extent. Probably people say deforestation is required for development, but that should be controlled and need to check whether it is needy. Because each species in an ecosystem has a specific role to play. It
Mhm.
ensures the sustainable productivity of soils and provides genetic resources for all crops' livelihood. The natural forest should be protected, the density of the trees to be increased, and above all, reduce the anthropogenic emissions, not just the government. I will tell you, there's no big strategy to fight the climate change or the global warming. Just don't keep depending on the government. Every people should take their step, starting from household activities. Everyone should take their responsibility. From cooking in the house, doing business outside. If they think they can reduce the emission, they can definitely reduce. And at the same time, planting trees is also really, really very good. Like I would like to suggest one example from
Mhm.
the Kerala state. You go to Kerala state, every house will have at least 2 or 3 trees, useful
Yep.
trees,
Yep.
useful trees for them around their home. But that if only that is taken around, in fact, even the city will be looking green.
Mhm.
You go to
Yep.
you go to any city, go to a tall building and see, you will find only the concrete. You would not find any trees and greenery anywhere. So if every household have one idea to plant at least 2 trees for them, that is really good. In fact, the Tamil Nadu government sometime back they came up with a very good plan as this rainwater harvesting. That was a very very successful thing. Similarly, if any plant, like, each household should have at least one tree, even if they don't have land in their own land, in front of their house, they can do it. If that comes, definitely we can fight the climate change.
Great. I think this has been so far a fascinating learning experience, at least personally for me, and I'm sure it has been for the audience. Uh, one question I have is, I've been working with the farmers, but do you also? I mean, it'll be great to know if you offer any uh, institutional support to the farmers. If suppose a farmer wants to plant trees, so and he doesn't know how to do it, so do you also provide them with training on species selection and how to plant the trees, or do you do awareness programs and educational programs for the farmers?
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. That's what we do. Our program is not just a tree planting program. Our program is to empower the farmers first, tell the farmers what they can do. So that starts from training. If it is going to be tree planting, so right from the preparing of seedlings, we give them the training, then planting, then growing, then after planting the trees, what else they can do in between the trees, intercrops, what type of intercrops they could do, and in what season, what crops they should grow. So every activities we keep training the farmers, and also through the help of the few corporates I mentioned, we are also
Hmm.
giving free. We are also giving free seedlings to the farmers who are actually finding it challenging to buy or to make any seedlings of their own. So we are giving them free seedlings, and farmers give their effort. And it's just because of our training, farmers are able to care the trees well. Tree care is, everybody say you plant a tree, it grows like that. No, it's not like that. A tree planted on farmland should be really cared well. They should know when to trim the side branches. They should know when to plant. They should know how to, do the intercrops around the trees without harming the roots down. So all those training is taken care for the farmers. That's why the farmer is more comfortable in our program. Training also gives the farmers to increase their yield. Training uh, on enriching the soil, training on holding the rainwater through compounds like that. We the list goes on. We keep on training on farmers on different activities for their survival, for their multiple sustainable income.
And do you also partner with other self-help groups uh, uh, to help with these initiatives?
Yeah, we actually have lot of tie-ups with many people, like not only the self-help groups. In fact, we also have identified several farmers, very good trained farmers who are interested to go to the other villages to train the farmers. See, I told you
Hmm.
we have a place called Node, where about 6 to 10 kilometers farmers come and join together. That is a place where each farmer share their best practices. So that is one good place where farmers learn everything. And apart from that, we also have good people from the forest department, from the horticulture, agriculture department. Whenever we call them for some need, for their expertise, they come, they give. They are very very happy to encourage the farmers and train them. And farmers are really happy about that. I have lots of information on trainings given by these people to the farmers community through us.
Sure. Yeah, this is very good to uh, you know and learn about. One of the things that actually fascinated me is when I was looking at your website, is I saw this carbon monitoring tool that you have developed, and how the farmers are using that. So, what is this carbon monitoring tool, and how widely is it being used by the farmers? And I mean that would be something great to learn about.
Yes, monitoring this carbon monitoring tool was developed by one person in US. I didn't use it, but I am the one who introduced that in India. I can tell you about that.
Okay.
Farmers, the farmers, it's nothing but uh, you know we are using uh, uh, smartphones or farm computers, GPS. These things are used by the farmers. Our trained farmers are using GPS, farm computers, smartphones, and digital cameras to monitor and measure the growth of the trees. Tree data is logged by GPS location into a database, and those information are hot synced through mobile internet facility and sent to official test websites stored as digital content for the global reference. This also trains the farmers, local farmers, on important activities to use this technology to measure trees' growth. In fact, here I would like to tell one very important point here. In fact, even the farmers would not know what is the area of land they have. They would be thinking they are having 2 acres or 3 acres. But when we use this instrument and measure, we tell the farmers accurately what is the land area, and we also tell them globally, showing them the satellite map where their land is. So all this information we provide them, and the farmers know about this. By this practice, farmers are more empowered to use modern technologies in their farm and acquire awareness about these technologies. The whole activity of this program is stored as digital content in website called tist.org. Every tree grow,
Mhm.
every tree grow developed through this system can be monitored effortlessly. Anyone who is supporting this program to plant trees, for them while monitoring, they need not save time or fuel or money to monitor. They have to just go click their mouse and watch it online without any efforts. So that is one foolproof system we are giving to the people who actually support our program. And this digital content helps just farmers, from remote corner in Tamil Nadu or anywhere in India, to sell their carbon credits to factories situated in USA, UK, or any part of the world. Whole of the TIS
Fascinating.
program is the whole of the TIS program is transferred into digital content. Tons and tons of data. You would be excited and fascinated to see our website. We have a lot of data with pictures, photographs, GPS locations. Everything is there, and it's all open to the public. There's nothing to hide. The reason why we have put that is we wanted to tell the world that whatever we do is absolutely true. Whatever we put on the website is absolutely correct. Imagine I have planted trees for voice. When I say this area has, this location has trees, you just pick the location without our knowledge, go to the location. Nowadays, people can go right without with the GPS location. Go there, you would see the trees. Match it on the website what we have projected. It will be same. So that is the confidence we give to our customers and people who support us.
This is, I mean, to learn about the digital content and its use in, carbon trading in the farming community is fascinating. And I'm sure, I mean, here in the US, people are talking about using technologies like blockchain in international trade. And I'm sure, that, we will have this, I mean, carbon trading amongst the farming community one day will start using advanced applications like blockchain technologies for their uh, operations. No, this has been fascinating. I think we have quite a few number of questions from the audience. So let me. The first question is, uh, how can this initiative be help uh, people becoming small enterprises or micro enterprises? And what kind of policy intervention do you think is needed to enable that? Hello?
Well, if they have land in any part of India and if they have the interest and you're able to hear me?
Yeah.
You're able to hear me? Okay. If they have the land and the potential and the interest to plant trees, they can always plant trees any part of India, and we will be happy to jump into their place to support them with our technology.
So the second question is, when the government proposes a highway through sorry when the government proposes a highway or a road through a forest, what is the scale of impact on biodiversity?
Well, that's definitely a severe damage. So any activities, even the farmer, when they try to do when they do farming, after farming, many farmers they try to burn their farm waste. That is actually a severe damage. In fact, we have told the farmers not to waste their farm waste, that they can use it for mulching to enrich the soil. So in that way, anything that is burned or cut, it's bad. It's bad to the biodiversity.
And what are the, I mean, speaking of the social and cultural imperatives, what role do they play in attracting the young and the educated people to this field?
Wow, I see lot of interest from the younger generation. In fact, most of the companies, their associates, they are voluntarily coming in. They simply don't want to plant trees and go. They wanted to work with the farmers. They are very much excited to work with the farmers. They say if a farmer is finding hard to pay for the labor, they say call me. I can come and serve for you. So I told you this
Mhm.
Wipro company, they have planted over 300,000 trees through us, and it's not just planting. They have actually organized several associates to come to the villages to plant trees. They come there, they stay with the farmers, they eat the food what the farmers eat. They plant trees, they learn the challenges of the farmers, and they also share their best practices with the farmers. You know, that is very, very interesting to see the younger generation. And even in the farming community, uh, the younger people who are educated from the farmers' family, they try to come to the city and work. So even to those people, what we tell them is, at least on the weekends, go back to your land, go back to your fathers, to your father, help your father. Don't sell your land. Don't forget farming. Even you can be a director here in Chennai or in any company, but you are a great man on your own land. That is more important. Don't forget that. They are really happy to do that.
Yeah, and I think uh, the next question is a fascinating question. I think you spoke about uh, the role of digital technologies, that in your initiatives, and so the next question is actually a follow up to that. So the interesting part of the question is, So this person is asking, can drones be used in planting trees in remote regions? And
Yes.
the larger aspect of this question is, how big a role do you think technology can play in tree plantation?
Yeah. See, it's a good question. Yes, drones can plant. I have also seen my friends sharing me pictures that drones have already planted trees. See, let me ask one. Let me tell you one thing. About a decade or 2 decades back or 3 decades back, people invented JCB, the earth movers.
Mhm.
You know that? You know how many people lost jobs because of this JCB? Poor people who were working for months on the road getting money, they all lost. We don't know where those people have gone. Now again, when these drones are going to replace, planting trees, and where would those poor landless people go? In what way we are going to support those landless people by giving, drones work their job, take their job, steal their job? Technology is good, but at the same time, when we use the technology, see to it that what, you know, how it affects the people who are dependent on that area for. After that, you bring in the technology. And really, it's good.
So also, taking this further up, so when you plant trees, you also have to be careful about the invasive species. And so my question is, you spoke about technology. Can technology play a role in preventing invasive species encroaching upon the land? But apart from technology, what other controls, policy, legal, or monitoring measures that you think is necessary for preventing the invasive species from, encroaching the land? Because obviously, that's not beneficial for tree plantation.
Yes, correct. See, today evening, I read an article about this very, very invasive tree species called Juliflora. In Tamil,
Mm-hmm.
they call it Velikata, a thorny bush. I think that's native of Africa. Uh, I don't know. There's a story they say in somehow it came to India. It's a story that about 3 or 4 decades back it came here, and they call it invasive tree species. And the story what I read today is that somebody has developed uh, uh, something, to easily eradicate that tree species. But my question is that this invasive tree species had been growing in India, particularly the south part of India in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, is actually become a native species of India, of Tamil Nadu for last four
I
decades.
see.
And I will say many species, the smaller species have started to depend on that species now, that Velikatan, that Juliflora.
Mm-hmm.
Now you try to eradicate, now you try to eradicate that tree species, what will happen to those species which depend on that? So, so with regard to the environment or any activity, think before you leap. We all know, right? Think before you leap. So before you do something, before you plan something, you'll have to think. And one more example I can tell you, if you go down to the other road in Chennai that goes to Mahabalipuram. After the tsunami, you would find hundreds and thousands of new eucalyptus, not eucalyptus, cashew nut trees, hectares and hectares of cashew nut tree species. I don't know whether it was planted to prevent this tsunami, but the bad thing is that those trees are preventing sea breeze to come into the land. See, it's a
Mm-hmm.
bad thing. So even we cannot call any tree species invasive, but bad. Even in Ooty, we would see lot of pine trees. That's again bad. I don't know. That's
Right.
what that was planned. That was also planted by forest department about 90 or 80 years back. Probably if they had done something multiple tree species at that time, Ooty would be more better now. So consider you know planting multiple tree species, even if it's going to be an invasive tree species, one tree among other trees is not bad. If that is going to be a monoculture, it's bad.
Interesting. Yeah, it's because no, I mean, I always thought that tree species, so invasive species, uh, was purely just harmful. It didn't have any side beneficial effects. But interesting to know that monoculture, is not desirable. No, I think Joseph, I personally I've learned a lot from today's session, and I'm sure our audience today as well. Uh, thank you so much for your time, Joseph. We have a few more minutes. If there are any other questions, please feel free to shoot them in. Uh,
I just have a lot of thanks to tell you to the voice. This is actually not the voice of Joseph Rixon. This is the voice of all those farmers who are waiting to get chance to thrive and live on their own land. This agroforest model. If many people come to know about this, like particularly the corporates, when they come to know about this, they would definitely come out and try to support the farmers. And farmers are good. They are good.
Joseph, I have, your session has been so fascinating. Questions continue to come in. I have just two more questions, and I think we'll stop with that.
Yeah.
So, one question is, millions of trees have been planted, which is great. Apart from carbon credits and other benefits mentioned, have you observed any microclimate changes that has benefited the farmers?
Well, I will say the groundwater is improved to some extent. Definitely, it will improve. It improves. Let me tell you one example from my home itself. You know, uh, about 6 months back, I tried to save all the water that is coming on the rooftop, and in this rain, I saw water ground level in my well. Same thing is happening even in the farmland, where the farmers are when they take our words to capture the rainwater through the farm ponds. Those areas have good groundwater, and those areas are really green. So it is good to use the nature prudently.
Yeah, and you know, as a side benefit, another side benefit of this, have seen any perceptible change or increase in wildlife due to increase in the green cover?
Wow, I started to see a lot of birds, particularly in the areas where we have planted trees. Birds, snakes, you know, lot of small bees I could see. That's very interesting and fascinating to see. You know, where the land sometime back about I'll say about 10 years back where I went, it was completely dry, and even for the hot sun, I had to go and hide somewhere, under a lamp post or anything. But now I see there a lot of shade, birds, bees. I see, the honeycombs there. It's all interesting to
Uh-huh.
see. It's all real. You can always come visit our tree groves or you send your people, but they should have a lot of time to walk with us to see all the tree groves.
Next time I'm in Chennai, Joseph. I think I would love to meet you, and actually, it'll be great if you can take me to some of these
Yes.
farmers, and I would love to see the amazing work that you have done.
Yes, and please come with children because we need to teach the children about environmental sustainability. And we also
Right.
should teach the children that they should go hand in hand with the farmers community.
Yeah, absolutely. I think farmers are the backbone of the country, and I think uh, sometimes I feel enough has not been done to safeguard their economic well-being. Over the past decades, uh, it. I mean, I read an interesting statistic in terms of, and you could validate that if that is true, that the annual income of a farmer is about 76,000 rupees, which comes to 6,000 rupees per year. Sorry, 6,000 rupees per month, and that's nothing. So I think your efforts, uh, towards plantation of trees and helping farmers increase their subsistence income, through tree plantation is uh, absolutely praiseworthy. Again, kudos to you.
Thank you.
Joseph, thank you for your time. I think we are just about running out of time. Uh, Thank you for your time today. It's been wonderful to listen to you. And we will stay in touch even after this event is over.
Thanks to you. Thanks to Voice and all the team of Voice.